Want to make a podcast? Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily, then distribute it everywhere, and even earn money. We like that. All in one place for totally free. It's called Spotify for Podcasters, and here's how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your cellular telephone or your computer, so no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else, those other places that podcasts are heard.
Video podcasts are also available on Spotify, and when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, Q&As and polls are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free, zero catch. We've been using it ever since we started How Long Gone. And ever since I discovered Spotify for Podcasters, I feel like having the option of turning off the Q&As and the polls on the user dashboard has really helped boost my creativity and take it to another level. I highly recommend giving it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started. You did a restart of your computer. Sometimes that's all it takes, isn't it?
You know, I'm just happy to be here, Jason. How are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm actually feeling a little sluggish today, kind of slow moving.
Did you smoke too much cat piss yesterday?
I forgot about cheetah piss. I did not smoke too much. No, I think it was just kind of the heat fucked me up. Like I did a lot of exercise yesterday, and I was out in the sun working out, punishing the body after Kirsty Godso's podcast, after receiving high praise from physical fitness trainer Joe Holder, who recommended me a liver cleanse.
Just to be clear, physical fitness trainer Joe Holder was complimenting your podcast hosting, not your body or workout skills.
We don't know that
right?
for sure. He just said don't sleep on TJ, and we don't know what he was referring
That's
to.
That's a good point. I guess
my ability to navigate the world of nutrients. It could be that. It could be my podcasting ability. You're the one who brought up the Turkish getup, and I know that's going to get his big dick hard. So there's any number of physical fitness feats
that's true
that I accomplish on a daily basis that could really turn his page.
That's a good point. I'm sorry for limiting my worldview on all the skills that you have.
It's fine. It makes me stronger.
Yeah, that's true. The heat is oppressive out here in big LA.
It's almost enough to turn Chris away from being a climate denier, but not enough yet. What's it going to take, Chris? What's it going to take?
It's not that much. I mean, once Miami's underwater, and I lose that investment condo, I'll think about it. But right now, I'm still good. But yesterday, I took to the court with Coach Jake Davis in an undisclosed location.
Give me $80, or I'll say it right now, pussy.
But so we were next to this court, and Jake was like, "All right, you know what? Like, we need to just stop for a second. You need to watch these guys."
Okay.
It's one coach who apparently was a number one NCAA player at Stanford, which is like a great tennis college, and these three young guys. I mean, these guys are, and then we asked them, they're Division I tennis players. They're like just graduate high school. They're doing their first season of Division I tennis next year, at a few different local colleges, and these motherfuckers were ripping, bro.
Okay.
It was honestly inspiring, but also crippling, because you will never be that good or that fit because you're 38 and they're 21.
Do you think they could beat you? They were like that good?
They could beat anyone we know. No, I mean, it was crazy. Honestly, it was amazing to watch. But the footwork.
You like checking out some young talent, is what you're saying.
I love checking out some young talent. Like, hey guys, take your shirts off. You want to take your shirts off?
Look at you guys, all of 19.
Yeah. The heat was just. I mean, it's 3:30 p.m. The heat is crushing.
Yeah, makes you play a little bit better in a funky way, huh?
It does.
But that reminds me of when I was building with tennis instructor Jake Davis over the weekend at the Fiesta, and I was kind of lamenting about the Wimbledon wheelchair games.
Yes,
you remember that line of conversation, Chris?
Yeah, he said all those motherfuckers could whip your ass.
Well, he was saying, I was basically saying, like, you know what, I had to pick my jaw up off the floor when I realized that they let these fucking guys get 2 bounces on the ball and I have to only get 1 bounce.
Yeah.
Obviously, you got to do something because otherwise it's going to be a tough game to watch. It's already very frustrating to watch as with a double bounce. I sympathize, of course, for my wheelchair brethren, and I was like, what, I could probably take one, and not the top 5 players, not like
You're saying,
not the murderers row, not the not to do a Joe Rogan voice, but just murderers. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
just murder. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Eliza. You know what I'm saying? Stanhope.
don't bring up Doug Stanhope on this podcast ever again.
He's a murderer, Chris. He's a murderer. But basically, and I was like, maybe like the 200th ranked player. He's a division guy. He's in there. He's mixing it up, but he's not. He's not endorsed by anyone. He doesn't have the Lotto shorts. He doesn't have the Lacoste.
Of course. Yeah.
Wheelchair accessories and things. He's like, bro. The 500th ranked person will destroy you. I mean, and I'm like, well, he'll beat me. He or she will beat me. They will beat me, of course, because they're professional. They probably grew up playing tennis.
He was like, no, bro.
And he's like, you won't get a point on them. I was like, I'll take a couple sets off these fellas, and he's like, you will not. I'm like, maybe one game. But then maybe one game. I'm not going to win the whole thing. I'm not going to lift a silver platter over my head and start crying, come down to my knees. He's like, you won't get a point against these people. It'll be 40 love every single time. The whole thing's done in 12 minutes. And to that I say,
bring it on.
Challenge accepted. If there's any nationally ranked wheelchair tennis players out there,
we want it.
Send me a DM.
Yeah, we want the smoke. I will be obviously a lines judge.
I'll blast your ass.
Look, Jake is a known entity in the tennis community, and I'm going to trust him on this, not your dumbass. So I would love to watch you get absolutely walked like a dog by a wheelchair tennis player. Hopefully, I would prefer it be on clay. So if you fall down, there's like a lot of dust and stuff all over your body. I think that
I'm gonna get rolled out. I'm gonna get rolled out, aren't I, Chris?
You are. Yeah, you are. It's not going to be pretty, but
I mean, how does the wheelchair work on clay though? I don't know how that could be advantageous for me. That might be more of a handicap for my wheelchair broskies.
No, I'm sure they can put on some, aftermarket tires to kind of get through that clay. What? Seriously?
I know, but it's still funny just you saying aftermarket tires, like it's one of those longboard skateboards that you can go, ride on the mountain.
Customized? No, maybe they put chains on the tires, like like it's snow. And I mean, seriously, it's
I know, I know you're being serious, but somehow all the like friendly suggestions that you are proposing are somehow more offensive than me saying like, all right, you wheeled cripple ass pussies, I'll give you bitches 3 bounces, suck my dick, we'll whoop any of you. And you're like, and all the nice suggestions you're saying are somehow more offensive.
We call that's the Chris Black touch.
Yes.
That's what I bring to the table. But after our session, I also I did something I've never done before, Jason. I harvested my dinner.
You sang for your supper.
Yeah, Jake has turned into a true green thumb and has a full array of vegetables and lettuces available on his balcony garden. I cut my own cucumber from the vine.
Oh, baby.
And slice them. I mean, I didn't slice them, obviously. Slice them up, and I mean through just a little bit of Maldon. Oh, buongiorno.
Just the way God intended you to eat this. Was it just a regular cucumber? Or were we going Persian? Was it a lemon?
It was a regular cucumber mixed in with some sugar snap peas with a burrata.
Oh yeah, I saw a picture of that. Those fresh peas. Oh baby.
Yeah, it was a delicious
the taste of summer
vegetable forward meal. The kale was incredible. I mean, the kale from the hydroponic gardening thing is much better than the kind of tough kale we're used to.
Okay.
It was interesting, but yeah. So I'm feeling.
I see what you're saying.
I'm feeling good, Jason. I'm feeling good after I felt like I was really connecting with the earth. All I did was snip a couple cucumbers off the vine, but it really felt like I'd been working in the fields. You know what I mean? It felt like I'd been tending to my garden all day.
So you pulling out a cucumber out of some dirt on a Silver Lake mansion balcony. That's you toiling in the fields, earning your keep. Honest day's work for an honest meal. I like that, Chris.
Yeah, exactly. And it was an honest meal, goddamn it. And then for dessert, since you know I'm not eating real dessert, he had these incredible melons. That just, I mean, this shit is buttery, Chief. I mean, that melon is melting in your mouth like it's a damn fucking carob chip.
When I tried to offer you a piece of my Erewhon melon, you turned your nose up at it. What's the difference here, Chris?
It's not heirloom. It's not. I don't know. I just wasn't feeling it that night. I don't. Out of the plastic package, it didn't feel very sustainable. So it just kind of turned me off to the whole experience.
Wow, even you could figure out a way to poo-poo Erewhon.
Oh no,
if you have gun to your head.
But that was a great. Since I treated everyone to dinner, Jason was able to buy me an $8 bottle of water as my dessert. That's what we're eating for dessert on the side.
Chris, I didn't get any cocktails. Be thankful for that.
Yeah,
because that'll double your ticket price with the blink of an eye.
We know that you're slurping them down when the fucking reposado is a heavy pour.
TJ update. I think my body odor is starting to subside as the toxins. What did she call it? The sins. Removing the sins from my body.
Removing the sins, and it's
sinny sin. All the sins is gone, baby.
Luckily, you have a lot of tank tops, so it's probably a good idea to kind of let it air out versus kind of smothering it in dry fit or even cotton. For that matter.
Fuck dry fit. Bitch ass dry fit. Fuck Nike.
Fuck dry fit. We do not fuck Nike.
Well, while you were enjoying this artisan farm to table sweet pea and burrata meal, I was watching some hoops like a real man at Tom's house.
Yeah, because I know you love.
We had the Roku fired up. We were watching Game 4 of the NBA Finals. I love this game. And luckily, my Bucks took it at the end.
Did you just need some time with the fellas? Because I know you don't care about basketball.
Oh yeah, I mean it was a social call. I hadn't built with Turnt Tom in a while, and luckily his partner brought home a trending item. Right after I had eaten my Oishi influencer strawberry.
The fact that I didn't get one of those is disrespectful. But before we get into your once again one of your viral treats, we can talk about it with our guest.
We will. We're going to talk to our guest only about strawberries.
I
don't care if he fucking does art or whatever.
Yeah, we're going to talk to Matt McCormick today. You guys probably are familiar with his work. He is a painter here in Los Angeles. He has also done, he has a clothing line. He's got a fucking seltzer. He's a partner in Ray's Bar in New York City. He is
he's the guy that picked out Chanel for Rodrigo at the White House.
Yeah, he does it all. I mean, he's done a lot of artwork. He's worked with John Mayer. He's worked with Don Tolliver.
It was vintage.
I mean, he tour managed Odd Future, which is, I feel like, an insane job that maybe
one of your favorites
almost killed him. So we're gonna tap in with Big Dog and see what's crack-a-lackin'.
I'm bloody excited.
Oh yeah, what's up, Matt? How are you, bro?
Good. How you guys doing?
Look, man, never been better. It's a little hot. Are you downtown right now?
I am, and the air conditioning just got turned on, so it's going to be hot for another 2 hours.
The AC, that your studio is cavernous.
Yes, and it keeps heat. So like if it's not either left on overnight or it just takes about a while. It's a big room. So
well, look, Big Dog, we know you're selling a lot of these paintings, so you can afford to keep the AC on overnight. Let's not.
Well, my partner at the studio would get upset if I left it on overnight. Although I don't think we've ever been charged for anything besides rent, which is, I don't know. I think we have some semi-sketchy landlords who yeah. I feel like I've seen people on the roof like rewiring things from
they're stealing
the post. Yeah, I'm serious. Like someone that was here before told us something like that. That it's, whatever they got to do, it's not my problem.
They kept offering the fact that there's free cable on the lease, and we're like, this is like an artist loft space. Like I don't really care about the free cable.
Yeah, exactly.
They're really pushing that agenda. Yeah, I've never stolen cable before. I don't even really stream things illegally, and it's not because I'm a narc. It's because I'm not that savvy technically. I would rather pay $50 to watch Conor McGregor break his own leg, than to steal that. That's money.
So you are a narc.
Yeah, that's money.
Bitch ass.
That's money. That's money well spent. But I do think that stealing cable is kind of a lost art, and I would love to do it when you'd see like a sign on the side of the road and you would just call the number. I miss those days.
Chris, we're not all from the hood like you. We didn't really grow up with that kind of stuff. Could you explain it?
I'm sorry.
And while you're at it, Chris, could you explain how you would escape the hood?
Did you see that video, Matt? Did you see the How I Would Escape the Hood video? And it's the white guy rapping the Mike Jones.
No, but I will have to search that immediately following this.
You're like, all right, I'll be right back. Give me 1 second, Chief.
I'll see you guys in a bit.
It's actually rather important. If I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how many screens you're dealing with there at the studio.
I mean, I can get more. I got an iPad and a phone sitting right next to me.
What do you do with it? What do you do with an iPad? Do you sketch on it?
I got it for like one specific job once because they wanted like an oil painting look without an oil painting budget. So I was like, okay. Let me
love that. So is there anything we can do to like make it look like oil painting, but just not oil painting?
And I've been wanting to get an iPad, like an iPad Pro. I have like a regular one, but
you got to go pro.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not a social media intern.
Not yet. But
keep making these digital oil paintings, and you might end up though. You know?
Yeah, you might.
I mean, seriously. The iPads kind of took over tattooing, like right after I stopped tattooing.
I didn't even remember that you did that.
Yeah, it was like one of these things where immediately following my departure from tattooing, all the like really difficult, or not all, but a bunch of the really difficult, annoying parts of it got way easier through iPads and different printing.
Yeah, what does the iPad do?
Dr. Wu said he wouldn't do our podcast, so you're all we've got on this insider info. After the Gossip Girl shit, understandable.
Was he on Gossip Girl?
They shout him out like one of the characters gets a tattoo, and like Dr. Wu did mine.
Nice. Well, Evan Mock's on there, so it's appropriate. It seemed they're coming closer. They're getting closer.
Creeping.
The like way you would do a tattoo just involves so many steps, which was honestly like a big reason why I started drifting away from it. But like if I wanted to do a tattoo, you'd have to, source some imagery or get the imagery. Then you'd have to like trace it on a light box and then scan that into a computer. And that's already an updated version.
Yeah.
But now it's like you just like find your image online, pull it into your Procreate app, and turn the opacity down and trace it and then print it directly onto the thermofax, where it was like before you had to like print it out a printer and then put that in it. It's just like it takes a lot of steps out of it.
Damn, I actually didn't realize that. And I'm, as you know, Matt, I'm yadded up, so it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, you're a tech guy.
So is there like a backlash, like just the way like analog music versus digital shit? Like, are there like true bro tattoo guys who are like, fuck that iPad shit, that shit's gay, bro? Like I do it the old fashioned way, the real man way.
Loyal to the coil. I mean, it's there's machines now that basically are like a pen, and they're wireless, and and it's like it's so easy to use, but there's your traditionalists that would never be caught dead using that kind of stuff.
So that's like a Tesla for tattooing.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
I didn't know there was a wireless tattoo gun now. That's fucking crazy.
Which I saw recently a friend using, and I was like, man, maybe I'll
maybe you're back
out of retirement for like 1 second,
Maybe I'm coming back.
But it's the setup is just there's so much setup, it's just like it's a lot, and to balance that with trying to do the painting stuff, it just becomes
and that's even if you do a good job at tattooing. We haven't even talked about if you fuck somebody's line up and you're like, ugh, and then that's eating away at you. I've never done a tattoo.
It's more like it's like the therapy element plus all the like trying, staying within the like guidelines of health and safety and in making sure everything is sterile. There's just a lot of elements to it. The actual tattooing probably makes up 20% of the process.
Yeah, I forget that tattooing is a little bit like a therapy. People want to talk because you're locked in for a long time.
Yeah,
I mean that depending on what you're doing, we're looking at 3-4 hours minimum.
And it's rude to be on your phone.
It's rude to be on your phone. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But
then you also get people like Chris, where you're like, oh, this is somebody who like, I'm not getting a tattoo because I like this design. I'm getting a tattoo because I just need to get a tattoo right now and I can't explain it, you know?
Yeah.
Or it's like, I need to feel the hurt.
I don't like stuff with meaning, really. I'm not really like a meaning guy, so it's more about the beauty of the aesthetics and the art itself.
That's actually really sweet.
The time and the experience. It's a story. I could come up with a meaning. I could bullshit a meaning for every one of my tattoos. But like I have my dad's initials really big on my hand, on the top of my hand. And I was just like, I want letters on the top of my hand, and I was just like brainstorming with some friends, and that's where I landed on my dad's initials, because I have like all my like immediate family members like names or some reference to them tattooed around my hand. So it's like, there you go.
Damn, what's it like to like your family?
You know, exactly. I mean, well, it's more like, you know, I don't even know if the point being is like, I do like my family, but like that wasn't even part of it. It didn't even matter. It was just like, that's just like, I want letters. So
does anybody have two letters? It's like an improv show. All right, give me two letters. QL. All right, let's go.
Yeah, that was more the seriousness of it. You know, it was like, I grew up liking a certain look to like tattoos, and so I wanted that, and then I got the tattoos that fit inside of that, but there was no like grandiose intention, you know, like, well, this represents my grandma or something. I think there was one time where a guy was asking if he should fit something inside of this cross I have on my arm, and I was like, oh, well, I guess put my grandma's name, you know, and then he actually said he couldn't, which I, having been a tattooer myself, find to be insane, because I could have fit my grandma's name in there like 50 times.
Did you work in a shop, like a proper, or were you always doing it like out of your own spot?
I mainly did it out of my own private space, but I would work in shops when I traveled.
The classic guest spot, you mean?
Yes, exactly.
I'll be in Melbourne, July 17th to the 20th.
Yeah.
Start making appointments are open now.
It was basically like the end of like Real Time with Bill Maher. I would just, you know, yell those out at the
get your dates
on my Instagram.
Tattoo shops, unfortunately, I feel like the last tattoo I got, I was in Detroit, and I noticed on the way up the stairs with the tattoo artist that he was wearing an ankle monitor, because he was on house arrest. And then I proceeded to get
that is Detroit.
I had proceeded to get this tattoo that was pretty quick, you know what I mean? Because I only had so much time, but it was literally an hour of this guy telling me why he was on house arrest and how he wasn't guilty. So it wasn't therapy for me, it was therapy for him, but I still had to pay, which was a confusing transaction, really, at the end of the day.
But that's like a great tattoo story. Like,
You're right.
That's
You're right.
ideal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, not to take away from someone who, like, you have to get on a list like 5 years in advance, but like, I don't know. I love like that the tattoo artist had like an ankle bracelet on, or, you know, or like, you know, the old, like, I was in the back of a biker shop and the guy was cooking meth, you know, that kind of thing.
Sure,
like,
of course. Yeah.
It's a better story, you know, for me.
No, and nowadays you go into a tattoo shop with one of those wireless pussies, and you're like, "What's going on with you?" And they're like, "Yeah, yeah, my cat's got a thing right now. We're just kind of dealing with that. Got to go to the vet." You know, like, I want to hear the house arrest story.
Yeah. I mean, I saw like a tattooer meme the other day, and it was basically that. It was like tattoo 15 years ago, and the woman, it's like, hey, welcome to, you know, Joe's Tattoos. Take a look at my book and let me know what you want. And then the next one was like Tattoo 2021. And it was like, so you're going to have to sign up for our email, you know, mailing list, and you're going to have 5 minutes on this date to get in line and possibly be able to put your name down. And if you know, like this whole long.
It's crazy, but it is crazy. But it's, I mean, I think, were you doing, was your era though, was everybody getting face tats, or was that before that?
There were people that like would reach out, and my thing was more, it was, I took more like the traditional stance, where it's just like, I'm not going to give you your first one unless you're
really hot. Oh, sorry.
Unless you're,
exactly. Yeah,
unless you're super hot and you have a 3-album deal with Atlantic, then I will consider giving you the
So
face tat.
what were, I feel like every tattoo artist has kind of their rules that they go by, of like, I don't do this, I don't do that, you know, I don't do people under a certain age, even if you have the parents' approval, or I don't do dick tattoos, or whatever, you know, I don't do names. You got anything like that?
I kept it loose. Besides that, I just didn't really want to like tattoo people's faces. It was just kind of more like, it's not fun doing that. You know, there's parts of the body that are a lot more enjoyable
right to
tattoo.
Oh, I'm catching.
So I would usually steer people towards those. You know, it's kind of like, let's do something that's going to be fun for all of us, and you're going to like in the long run.
Seeing someone with a face tattoo when I was like in high school, that was some wild shit. Like that was wild boy shit. Like you did not.
Oh, for sure.
You cross to the other side of the street if you see somebody walking with a face tat.
I'm not exaggerating. I've seen 3 guys today with face tattoos. You know what I mean? Like it's so ubiquitous.
It's still wild.
Yeah. Good point.
Chris, did you go to T-Mobile today?
I wasn't at T-Mobile, but I was the undefeated gym, so that makes a little more sense.
Yeah, it's much more common. Yeah, in the gym now.
Yeah, in the gym specifically. But I mean, so like a lot of tattoo artists though are, painting. That's like I know a lot of guys that do that as well. And the art isn't necessarily, tattoo style or even similar to what they're doing tattoo wise. But were you were painting first, then got into tattooing and then went full time painting? Is that the trajectory?
When I got out of high school, I'll just go there. Like it was like I had 2 artist parents to show me the example that you could have a fine art career / a commercial in some elements art career. But I still didn't know how to make it work. And so it was just kind of like, how do I do that? And then at one point in the journey, I was like, I always loved tattoos. So I wanted them for free. And I drew things that looked like tattoos. So I did that. But as I got older, my interests in art kind of, evolved as they do. And the point in which I decided to stop tattooing was that I had achieved what I wanted from it. That doesn't mean to say that I'm was the world's best tattooer or beat the game of tattooing. I just achieved what I wanted, and
how much money were you trying to make before you left?
Yeah.
$1 billion. No, I got to a point where I realized I wouldn't be able to achieve what I wanted with painting and the rest of my practice if I stayed doing that, because it's really, like we started out with, it's really time and labor intensive. And I really tried to be like, no, you can do both. You could do both. And I was proven wrong on that.
I think what he's leaving out of the story, Jason, is that once tattoo shops started taking credit cards, he was like, "I'm out." Okay, I'm a cash only guy. If you're putting
exactly.
If you're putting a back piece on an MX, I can't rock with that. I can't rock with that. This industry is not for me anymore.
Yeah, we're done.
Well, speaking of that, many people in the tattoo game are also a member of the greatest art game in the world, graffiti. Is that something that you tangled with as well?
I mean, like many folks, I enjoyed that as a young kid. I never got really crazy. I mean, I have at least been arrested for it.
Hell yeah, that makes 3 of us. Jason, you've done some hard time for tatting. I mean, for graph, right?
I did a weekend bid in Orange County Jail. Yeah, bitch.
Nice. There we go. I did a weekend bid in the Tombs in New York, which
God, shit,
New York.
Yeah. Big NY.
He doesn't just have hand tattoos, bro. He's been to the Tombs. This is hot.
I had to use a really disgusting sandwich as a pillow for a night.
Come on, dude.
I swear to God, because in the room that I was in, there was just no bench room, and there was a crew of dudes that basically just chilled on the phone the whole time. And so I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna try to take a nap. It was such a funny thing. The cops told me to get rid of all my stuff. So I gave it to my friend who didn't get arrested, but I did. And that stuff would have been nice to have. It would have been nice to have a jacket.
You should give that pillow and that melatonin to your bro. You're not going to need it where you're going, brother.
They weirdly told me to give all my jackets, anything that would have kept me warm, because it was the middle of the winter too. They told me to give all the things that would have kept me warm to my friend, but told me to bring money in. Which was also strange.
That's I feel like that's advice maybe we don't understand why it was given to you, but maybe it was actually good. That's a very odd.
From the precinct I was arrested and held at to the Tombs, they actually drove out of their way and drove in front of my house at the time. And I fully thought they were going to drop me off, and I think it was some mean joke.
So they were definitely they basically did what they do to people like you, which is we popped you for graffiti. If we do a good job at teaching this guy a lesson and really make this weekend bid truly unforgettably bad, you'll probably never get arrested for graffiti again.
Yeah.
And it was terrible at the time, ended up probably being a blessing.
Yes. There was one more close call, but I got out of it. And since then my graffiti career has been pretty strictly on random scrap paper around my desk. But
The mirror in the hotel bathroom, catch a quick one.
oh, a lot of the mirror in my, or not the mirror, the glass in my shower. I get
Hell yeah, he's
crazy
getting
when I
Yeah,
get up.
the glass in my shower is absolutely destroyed right now with heat.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Jason's
All my best tags.
a member of the graffiti community, and he, his black book is pretty sick. He doesn't really share it very often.
By appointment only. But I remember when I was in jail in Orange County, I remember I was vegan at the time, and I received a sandwich, and it was like it was just like 2 pieces of bologna on white bread, plain, and I was like, well, I mean, at the time, I should have used it as a pillow, but within 5 seconds of receiving it, a man walked up to me and was like, give me your sandwich. And I was like, okay. And then that was it.
Damn.
Little did he know I was a member of the vegan community and wasn't going to eat it anyway, so joke's on him.
Yeah, you didn't intimidate me, pussy. I was going to give it to you anyway. It's not a big deal for me to give away my one meal here.
Get that poison out of my mouth.
I also got a milk carton that I opened and had a bug inside of it. So
Milk bug.
A sealed milk carton with a bug inside of it is very cool. That's very, very cool.
It's a stain on the dairy community. I'll edit that out.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I got arrested in high school for it, but then when I was Jason knows the story, but I got arrested putting up a sticker on St. Mark's and was thrown on the ground by an undercover graffiti squad in a fake cab.
jeez.
I was on high because I was actually high on marijuana, and I'd also just left a Third Eye Blind concert. So I was really feeling myself.
Wow.
And they really ended that, and I had to go to a jail on Avenue C, for 6 hours or something. It was just crazy. But they kept demanding that I had Coke on me. And I'm like, guys, it's a Monday night. I don't have Coke on me. Check back on Thursday, and I'll definitely have some. But the way they were so aggressive about trying to find drugs, I think that's the only way they get that shit to stick. Otherwise, it's like you're going to go home. It's not a big deal. It's like it's not worth it for them.
That is crazy. Wait, you were in high school when this happened?
No, I was in my like early 20s. I was probably 24.
Okay, I was going to say you were the coolest high schooler ever.
No, and unfortunately in high school I was very cool, but I was, I had a interesting look. You know what I mean? Which I'm sure we all did. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because were you in high school? Were you like a hardcore dude or like a dead guy?
I was like a goth meets hardcore kid.
Goth meets hardcore. What are we talking about? Like Susie and the Banshees or like AFI? Be honest.
Both. AFI led me to Susie and the Banshees and Depeche Mode and all that stuff. I also had like a glam-rock band at one point. So we had like a big New York Dolls, Johnny Thunders phase.
Were you able to pull off those looks?
I mean, I thought I was pulling off the looks. I remember like going to like Bowie's last tour. We all would wear like leather jackets and ties, and like, I remember seeing the Dolls and Bowie, and like older kind of glam rocky women would like come and, swoon around me and the other little, I mean, we were like 16, but I think we pulled it off. I mean, I think that we looked like pimple faced kids in a glam rock costume, but it's an impossible to look to pull off, though. The only people that ever pulled it off were the people that did it originally, and it can't do it now. It's impossible.
So it sounds like a very Detroit Rock City vibe.
Yes, it was. I mean, that was a definite favorite movie of mine, but it was very much like that, but even a little more New Yorky glam.
A little snottier, a little more drag going on. You had to put your skinny jeans on with a pair of pliers, zipping it up.
Oh yeah, very much had the skinny jeans. Would get made fun of a lot for them.
Mm-hmm. Worth it. You had the last laugh.
Girls' jeans, actually. I was wearing women's jeans at that point.
Do you remember what model number of diesel they were?
Well, I couldn't afford diesel. I had like...
well, you got to rack the diesel. Come on.
You steal the diesel. I thought you were a graffiti head, bro. Come on.
No. I became more of a graffiti. My fashion changed when I became more of a... I mean, I started...
You stopped dressing in drag when you became a writer? Wow.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I still did it a little bit because I started graffiti in freshman year, 8th grade with Alexander Spit, who I think some of you guys know. But we had a tag together freshman year, and we would tag 2 per for the like Nelly song, Give Me 2 per, I need 2 per. And so we would write 2 per, number 2 PER everywhere.
Cool. That's a good early 2000s graph name.
Yeah.
Stomping in my Air Force Ones. This all sounds very cool. So you were up in the Yay area then. So did you ever have a hyphy phase?
I mean, for sure. You couldn't. I did it like simultaneously.
How could you not? I mean, how could you not?
No, it was like you had to like Mac Dre. Everyone liked Mac Dre. It was all Thizzle Dance this, hyphy that.
Fizz Nation.
I moved to Seattle immediately following graduation, and they were also very into the hyphy movement and all that.
You thought there were a lot of white people who said the N-word in the Bay Area. Wait till you go to Seattle, right?
Shoot. Yeah, for real. Well, Seattle, there's a lot more like griminess that you wouldn't expect. And I got thrown directly into that community, big graffiti scene up there.
Sure.
What were you doing in Seattle though? Were you just like working and hanging out?
Yeah, pretty much. I was partying. I worked at the Gap. I worked at a bagel store.
Classic.
I rode a lot of BMX bikes.
Oh, yes.
I was hanging with a lot of those BTM guys up there, and we would hang at Seagate, which RIP, like every night. And, it was pretty, it was like, living with no money, being a crazy kid.
Wouldn't have had it any other way.
Sounds pretty fun too.
It was super fun, but that's where the style changed. That's where I finally stopped wearing tight girl pants, and I wore a lot of basketball jerseys with white tees over them. So it really switched up.
That's a hard left. That's a hard left.
Yeah. A lot of
some starter hats with a flat bill that had shiny metallic dollar signs all over it, stuff like that.
None of the metallic dollars. It was just more I had to be wearing one piece of Bay Area sports gear all the time, and usually vintage '90s kind of vibe. Although I would also wear Sonics, the Sonics crew neck a lot because I was a big Sean Kemp fan when I was a kid.
Sure. Okay, so just in the last 10 minutes of talking, we have the goth hardcore emo phase. We have full glam. We have hyphy. You've done everything. What are we missing?
I had to try it all.
I'm impressed by this. I think I'm really. Because if I look back on my shit, there's extremes, there's peaks and valleys, but overall, I kind of dress like my mom dressed me when I was a child to this day.
Oh, I was very much about acting out fashionably always. I had long black hair in high school during that goth phase. My first concert ever that I went to on my own was American Nightmare, Hope Conspiracy, very East Coast Boston hardcore. So I definitely touched into that world a lot, and it was very, but AFI you mentioned AFI, they were very big for me in my
in a full circle moment. I think Cold Cave, which is west from American Nightmare, are opening for AFI in the next 6 months. So it's a full circle. We'll have to make sure you get tickets to that.
I would love to go to that, to be honest.
I'm not crying, you're crying,
Yeah, that's that is a very impressive, but that's a pretty impressive run because now you're a very tasteful kind of under quiet dresser. You're not a flashy guy.
So you traded the Sonics jersey for a understated chore jacket? Is that what we're saying?
Pretty. I went through a really big J. Crew phase in New York, and then I kind of moved to LA. And I say this, in a fun way, but my style got destroyed for a few years in LA, and then
nothing fun about that.
Well, I was broke, and I worked on Fairfax, so I just kind of took what I got for free, and so now I've been working a weird angle of that.
You and Jason were both wearing the hundreds head to toe. That's interesting. I'm surprised you guys didn't cross paths.
I'm pretty sure we ran in very close proximity without having crossed paths because I lived with Brick, Stowell, and over at Normal, which was I think more of a thing before I moved here. But I was couch surfing Normal until I got kicked off the couch. And then I eventually came back.
What'd you do to get kicked off the couch? We don't have to talk about it.
I don't even really. This is pre-sobriety, so I was just pretty.
He's
much
it could be anything. He's it could be.
Did you touch Trevor's laptop? What'd you do?
No, this was post Trevor.
Got it. We're talking about crypto giant Trevor McFedries, friend of the show, previous guest.
Tech Lord.
Matt and I actually hung out a couple weeks ago, and I went down to the studio to check out work and hang. And I didn't know about this entire phase of your life where you were a tour manager. So when does that come in? Because that's the worst job in the world.
So that was around that. I was living in New York, and I was running life like straight into the grave. And I had been working at a nightclub called Sway for about 5 years and doing the New York nightlife thing.
I have DJ'd at Sway before.
I mean, I went to Sway for the first time since I left, so like 10 plus years, like a month ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was a friend's birthday party on a Sunday. It was the same DJs minus Ben Cho, RIP. It was a semi-similar crowd, and I just had a full, beautiful flashback. I was like really enjoying myself.
That's great.
Legendary spot for their Smiths and Morrissey night back in the day.
Well, they were playing the same playlist,
Yeah.
the Smiths playlist, so I was just like taken right back into it because it was Brian DeGraw, so he knew exactly how to line it up. But we were talking about this the other day, is that like living in New York as a 21-year-old right now would be amazing. And there was nothing better than like moving to New York at 21, getting a job in, you know, a cool nightclub and doing that. It just, with my own kind of like over enjoyment of excess, it just it only could last so long before the problems outweighed the positives.
Yeah, you sleep in every day.
Yeah,
you
4
get
o'clock
to drink on the job.
Yeah, exactly. But Brick came to New York for Odd Future's like big first New York show. We were catching up because I've known Brick since middle school, and he was just like, you know, like telling me about life in LA and really sold it. It was like, come out, I'll bring you on the road with us. You can help me, blah, blah, you know, and so I moved basically overnight shortly there afterwards. Yeah. Ended up on Normal with a few detours in between.
Mm-hmm.
And then I ended up taking Spit's job on Fairfax. And then about like, I don't know, almost a year later, Brick and I started touring together, and we did that. And it was Tyler. He brought me on for Tyler's like first solo tour, and I kind of came on like 1 to help him and 2 to like help design the stage, which was a massive learning experience.
Sure.
Had no idea what we were doing. Yeah, it was crazy. It led to a lot of really labor intensive moving of like insanely heavy stage objects, which were definitely not planned out properly, but and we did that for a while until I ran that into the ground, and you know, and Brick essentially fired me, and I was living with him, and he also kicked me out of the house. Well, they were moving, and I wasn't invited to move. Mm-hmm. And that was honestly probably the best thing that ever happened to me. And yeah, and it forced me to you know, stop living the way I was living and actually try to do what I wanted to do, which was what I do now. So
beautiful. And you guys are all cool, and everyone's bros now at this point.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still best friends with all the guys that, you know, I was with at the time. I think they were moving. It was him and Spit and Lee, and you know, was at my studio yesterday. He's here all the time.
Lee from Babylon Trash Talk.
Big Babylon Trash Talk Lee. Yeah, I mean, all of our lives have taken similar but different paths, and it's been really awesome to kind of like, you know, do that. But yeah, that was like a very pivotal moment, was, you know, the ending of the touring. But also, you know, when I lived in New York, I would just be so jealous of all these people that were coming in and out of town all the time that were like, oh, I live in LA, but I'm in New York every other week. And I was like, man, I want a job or a life where I can travel all the time. And so touring like really kind of was
that's an easy solution. That's an easy solution to that problem if it's handed to you. But touring is arguably the worst thing in the world, depending on I always say this, the tour manager is the worst job on the planet. It's the hardest job. It's so hard.
It's a 24-hour job.
And you don't get, the thing is, the artist, you know, obviously it's easier for the artist, but the other thing is the artist gets the glory every night. You know what I mean? People are clapping for them. They're playing, you know, they're doing this whole thing. You don't get any of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You just kind of come and you do your thing, and then you do your thing the same over and over and over and over. And I think it's like, it's really tough on like the psyche.
Yes. And you're also like, well, everyone you're talking to is like, man, you're living a rock star life, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, well, I see a bus, and a venue and a hotel. And, I don't really see any of these places I'm going truly, you know, every once in a while. And also the rockstar thing, no one cares about me or the tour manager. They want to, you know, they're like, you must be getting girls. No, none of the girls are there to like sleep with the tour manager. They're, you know, it's like, it's this whole thing. It's like, you know, But one, I made some really great friendships. I mean, not to like get all.
No, but I mean, that's what it's about. I mean, I did too. I mean, that's what
I say this all the time. Tyler is like a huge reason why I like actually decided to pursue my career, because I would bring like art supplies on tour. I remember like I had like a cardboard box of like
cardboard box. So fire.
Drawing supplies and shit that I would bring on tour, like pens and different shit just to like, draw with. I always had that stuff. I just didn't like do it enough. And I remember very clearly Tyler being like, you need to be doing this. You need to like make this, like that's one of the greatest things about him. He's really supportive of pushing his friends to like achieve what they want to do. And obviously he's really good at like doing that. But that was a huge, I remember it very clearly because I would get up early in the morning and sit in the front of the bus and like, if Clancy was on the tour, he would sit up there with me and maybe Tyler would come up or whatever. But like, it would be before everyone was kind of like going nuts. And I would be able to listen to like my like old dad music and Clancy and I would like vibe on that. And like, I think at the time we were listening to a lot of Gordon Lightfoot until the other guys woke up. And then they'd be like, turn this shit on.
I love you two guys listening to Gordon Lightfoot at 8 a.m. in the front of a tour bus with Tyler. That's a very funny sight. Awesome. That's a very funny idea to me.
Yeah.
Having people like that around that kind of push you in the right direction is very helpful, especially if they're, successful and clearly doing what they want to do.
Yeah.
It brings a little bit of trust to that conversation where you like believe them, in a way that you might not believe yourself.
Yeah, that was the beauty. And that was kind of what got me to come to LA and start the process of stopping what I was doing in New York. Was like, I saw these friends that I had either been friends with or knew over the years from coming and visiting that were like doing things that weren't jobs, and I think that was also just the age I was at, but like people that were like pushing in a direction. And I was like, man, I want to push in a direction, and then that was the step after tour managing. I was like, okay, I've been pushing these guys, art forms or like helping them with their careers. Now I want to like do mine.
Yeah, it's my turn.
So
it's Daddy's turn.
Papa needs a taste.
Yeah,
exactly.
Papa needs a taste.
Like, you're all way younger than me. I should probably figure something out soon.
yeah. That's another thing that will push you to that edge. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think that art specifically is pretty intimidating. You know what I mean? The world of it that we're probably all very familiar with. But I think that you have figured out a way to occupy a space that's like you get to do stuff that you want to do that's more commercial, but you're selling paintings, obviously you're selling drawings, you're publishing books, so it's like you kind of get the best of both worlds. But I feel like some people struggle with that.
I mean, it was kind of like what happened with tattooing. I wanted to I have a very clear memory of my best friend like really being like, you should try to figure out a tattoo. And I didn't know anyone in the tattoo community really. I was like, I knew the guys I would get tattooed by, but like I wasn't like best friends with any of them. He convinced me to like grab a bunch of my drawings and go to a tattoo shop and be like, hey, and they essentially laughed me out of the tattoo shop. And, maybe that was like a little fuel to the fire to like be like, okay, well, I'll figure this out. But like, I'm not going to tell anyone not to learn how to do something. There's a lot of people in tattooing that be like, you got to do an apprenticeship. And I do understand and recognize and support the value of that. But no one was offering me that, and I wanted to do it, so I figured it out. And eventually, like I became friends with tattooers that I looked up to and respected, and worked my way like slowly into that community. And that's essentially kind of the mentality with the art. Like, okay, like I still don't have a gallery. There's galleries I could work with at this point, but it's I want to work with who I want to work with, and I want to do the things that I want to do. And if no one's going to offer it, then like I'll figure it out. On my own, and if not, like
it'll be all right.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'd rather, like I'm not gonna not try.
For sure.
Kind of like, and luckily, we are in a time where everything's changing. And I think that there's a lot of value to the way that it's gone historically, and with the gallery system and all of that. There's also a lot of value to kind of like looking. I mean, what industry is there not someone saying I'm a disruptor? I'm not here saying that, but that's happening in everything all the time. And so it's not like it's that crazy. It's just like, yes, change or trying different methods is always been part of the game. It's just, it's different time, different place kind of thing.
Damn, I guess, does that mean I'm a disruptor too? This is awesome.
Probably.
I mean, you kind of run the gamut as far as like, you know, what you like, and I think that you work with musicians a lot too. So you've been able to keep that kind of in your zone.
It's very like important for me. I don't know this. Like
music
you know,
is
when
life.
Spotify,
Music is life.
yeah, I mean, I am that guy, but like, you know, in Spotify that gives you your stats at the end of the year,
Yes.
you know, and I remember I sent the stats to a music friend, like a producer friend, and he looked at the hours logged, like listening to music, and he was like shocked. Because I just like, I have to have it on. There's nothing I hate more than like getting in someone's car and like they don't listen to music while they drive. Or
welcome to me. I'm a serial killer now, bro. I'm listening to nothing or classical only in the car.
Well, at least there's some classical, you know. I mean, you know, or at least there's nothing I hate for myself.
Yeah,
I just have to have music going all the time.
Jason's like that. You're like that, Jason.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's easy to not have silence, you know, I'll make it happen. Thanks to our good friends at Spotify.
It's for me, music is so integral in setting a tone, and so I use it to set my mood. It's like how you know, that sounds so corny as I hear myself say it out loud.
No, but it's true.
My daily wind down
Mm-hmm.
is like I go home, and when my girlfriend and I separate, like she'll go downstairs into our bedroom and she watches her programs, as she refers to them, and I sit at the kitchen table and listen to music, and I just kind of, that's like my one time of the day where my brain isn't like trying to like tackle some.
So she's watching
thing.
Love Island. You're in the kitchen, glass of scotch, neat. You know, maybe you're playing with a knife. Maybe you're not. You're just at that kitchen table.
Exactly.
Taking long, deep sighs.
I sit there. I truly sit there, and I smoke my like CBD replacement for cigarettes. And I just listen to music, and I usually, like, it's so corny, but like keep a notepad maybe close by, or like I like obsessively look through my books, and it's more analog than the television thing that I,
Damn,
you know,
our
because
man,
I watch TV.
You know how to wind down, Chief. This is some like, I feel like we're
Of
talking.
course, you're not single. All the good ones are taken.
I tell you what, this guy sounds like a '70s movie star or something. Like I don't.
You're
who
hitting
lives like this?
you hitting the dad grass. Is that your?
I hit dad grass in the car because I'll get those pre-rolls every once in a while. Shout out to Ben Starmer.
Yep.
But I have another brand that I'm like obsessed with because it's flower specific, and I just really, you know, growing up in Northern California with like the hippie weed culture, like I love just the whole, you know, like I've been sober for a long time. This is like my, you know, THC free kind of equivalent, but I really like the culture around the, like in the act of like rolling up a joint, sitting there and kind of, you know, and having a moment of like peace. You know, I was a big cigarette smoker until my body just said no. And so this is my like new thing. For me, there's a very like meditative moment that occurs at the dinner table when, you know, I sit at the dinner table post dinner with the music. Usually there's like maybe a new book has arrived, and I'll just like kind of sit there and that's when I get to like look at my new book and smoke, or scroll eBay like endlessly for watches or dumb shit like that.
I'm realizing that I'm Bay. I want to go watch Real Housewives of Beverly Hills and be left alone. And
that kind of TV stresses me the fuck out. I can't watch it.
That's the number
so
one.
Angry.
Those are my programs.
So does that mean you're smoking indoors, Matt?
I have like this is a point of contention with my girlfriend, but there's a door right next to it.
Yeah, no shit.
And usually I'd leave the door open, but then we got like some moss, so then I was closing the door.
The whole thing.
So yes, there is an airflow, but I am smoking, inside, just right next to the door.
So you're smoking that indoors, the joke I was hoping to set up.
Mostly it's indoor, but I'm growing my own outdoor to smoke that indoor. So that'll be coming soon.
Hashtag Humboldt life.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, my man knows how to wind down. I tell you what, I don't.
Yeah, this is tight.
Yeah, you're living a better life than I realized. I mean, it looks pretty good, but like now that I'm getting the details, I'm a little bit. I think I need to kind of refocus my energies. Come
over anytime and jump in this life. My whole thing is, how can I have less stress? And like, I've talked about this before, but I have this whole kind of arc of music I do every day. And by the end of the day, it's usually like as low tempo, like crooner, like, or like an old Les Paul, like really mellow thing. Cause I basically just, like they said, like have to like dictate my mood and energy with music. So I do this whole thing throughout the day. And by the end of that table, it's like,
There's an arc.
That's
yes,
interesting.
there's like generally like a really, I'll send you guys a playlist I made that shows the whole arc, but like
Yeah, that'd be great. I'd love that. Yeah, please.
It shows the exact like moment at that table where it's just very about like bringing the tempo down like so much so that essentially then I can go to bed and not, and not be like, have the brain racing.
What kind of sleep are you getting? You getting 10 hours? What are we looking at? 8 hours?
No, hell no. No, I'm like a 5 to 6.
Hey, that's cool too.
Damn. Do you stay up late?
So when I get into bed, my girlfriend is usually asleep after watching her programs, and then I get to watch my programs. Well, it depends. It depends on where I'm at with if I'm watching a show. If I'm not watching a show, I like go on YouTube and then fall asleep to like really boring like art talks or dumb things like that. Not dumb, but like really slow stuff. So I always fall asleep. I will say this week I've watched 2 full movies that I didn't fall asleep. This movie, Trees Lounge, which was just the most, I've told every friend of mine to watch it in the last couple of days, but it was...
Is that the name of a dispensary or was this a film?
Yeah. It's a Steve Buscemi movie. John Buscemi's in LA.
Shout out to John Buscemi.
Yeah,
we love truffles. Truffle hot sauce, baby.
Luso clouds on my feet. No, it's a Steve Buscemi movie, and it was in '96, and it just visually, I was describing to a friend last night. It's kind of like a Richard Prince piece mixed with like a Stephen Shore photograph turned into a movie.
Whoa.
It's probably like Chloe Sevigny's like second movie. She's very young in it, and there's a bunch of people you've seen in a lot of things. And it seems like their first or like very early movie for them, but he's like, you know, kind of down out living above this dive bar. I'm obsessed with like dive bar aesthetics, and it's very picturesque.
What's the name of this film again, Matt?
Trees Lounge.
Trees Lounge. And I have a premium Hulu account. Is it available on there, or where can I find it?
Amazon.
Ah, perfect. I have that account too. Yeah,
Amazon suggested it to me, and I'm very happy they did. And then from there,
shout out to Amazon.
Yeah, thank you, Bezos.
You had us at young Chloe.
Yeah, that's all I need to hear. Yeah, that's all I need to hear.
Not to talk about Smith's Night again, but
yeah, back to Smith's Night. And then I watched this movie Hard 8 like 2 nights later, which is like
Love Hard 8. Love Hard 8.
So 1996 is clearly the year for movies for me right now. So that's my programs that I've been engaging in. But normally I'm just falling asleep, but I was able to stay awake during both of those.
My buddy, our friend of the show, Mikey, suggested Hard 8 for me early quarantine. I really like that movie a lot. Yeah, I'd never heard of it before. I'm not a big cinephile, so
neither am I. I have a lot of close friends that are, and I always feel less than.
Exactly.
I found my calling.
Same, but look, usually I'm better looking and more successful, so they can have their little movies. You know, it's fine. Yeah, that's fine. You guys,
their films.
Yeah, you guys have your films. I'll be over here counting money.
Movies are what ugly people do to pass the time, right, Chris?
Jason. That's what you do when you go see Fast 9 with your Twizzlers. You know, that's that's a movie. You know, it's a film.
I prefer a Twizzler to a Red Vine, but I don't support the Fast franchise. Well, Matt, one thing that I've sort of taken here as a through line is you have figured out a great way to spend your life cohabitating with your partner while never having to talk to her or see her or interact with her in any way. And this is pretty cool.
Yeah, any tips? Yeah. How do you do that?
So you just waited. You just like, I'll be down in the kitchen. And you just wait it out. And then when you start hearing her, then you slink up into bed and then put on one of your boring art talks and you're like, baby, I'm home.
I think we've realized that we are, like, as far as programs go, usually on opposite sides of the spectrum, but we will meet in the middle. We did a reviewing of Sopranos, which we watched obsessively.
Great show.
When we first started dating, I did every episode of Sex and the City with her.
Now we're talking.
I enjoyed. Recently, we did a bunch of, we found common ground on Law and Order, which I obviously love.
Sure.
So we did a bunch of SVU, but then we also did the new Organized Crime, which, I know a lot of people were stoked on because, obviously Maloney.
That's smacking.
So one night a week you'll get a couple hours FaceTime, but those other 6 you're
Yeah.
you're taking the robe off and sliding in quietly.
It's it's a mix. I mean, we will have a nice dinner together, and then she doesn't want to sit at the table. Like, I really like sitting at the table. She doesn't really like sitting at the table. She wants to go into the living room. It's also like, who hasn't been on top of their partner throughout all of COVID? It's
You need Well, Jason and I have been on top of each other, but not in the way you're thinking. But I think that the other thing I'm taking away is that this house sounds big. You know what I mean, Jason? Have you noticed that? It sounds like this guy's got a lot of space over there.
There's a lot of. It's a multi-level.
Yeah, multi-level is that's I know we're in LA, but that still sounds like you got a lot of room to spread out.
Drop the address, King.
I made a lucky purchase right before the housing market went absolutely bananas. It was a house that didn't really have any offers on it when I looked at it, and it worked out. I'm building my own oasis over there, so it's kind of like
we talking about Mount Washi.
We're in Mount Washington. We're in Mount Washington. I had a friend.
I could almost smell it on you.
Well, to me, I remember going to Mount Washington. My friend Tom lived over there, and with his girlfriend Jane, who's actually it's her house, but they both live there. I remember going to visit them, and it just felt like Marin, where I grew up. And I was like, man, this is where I need to be. And then I used to hike the dogs at Elysian Park all the time, and I would look across at Mount Washington. I remember like one day very clearly being like, that's where I need to live. So when the opportunity, became a reality, I jumped at it. And I'm very happy. It's like 10 minutes from downtown, but you feel very not near downtown at all.
It's a whole other fucking world. Why? I gotta say, I love this LA story.
Me too, man.
I've talked about this with Paulie from Uncle Paulie's a bunch. And
shout out to Uncle Paulie.
Yeah, shout out to Uncle Paulie.
I saw our sandwich magnate this morning. He was getting his little lift on too.
Oh yeah, I know he's like a big. Him and Bronson have been over there a bunch.
Yeah, they're really getting their
sweat out all that gabagool. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I should be doing more of that personally, but yeah, I mean, we always talk about because I remember Paulie from coming to Sway. We were both living a much different lifestyle, and it's kind of like this. This you come to LA, land of dreams.
It's nice to live here. Life, I mean, besides the oppressive heat, the traffic, and the ugly clothes, it's great. I mean, it's really there's no place I'd rather be. I mean, I say that, and that's all true, but I mean, it really is. Like, I think that I think we as humans, until you realize, I think we underestimate what like weather does to our mental.
For sure.
Waking up and it being beautiful every day truly makes life better and easier to kind of tackle.
That's your CBD.
That's my CBD. Exactly. It really is. Like when I wake up and the sun's out every day, it's crazy. It's a whole different experience.
Waking up with the sun, like waking you up, is become a requirement now after living here for this.
The circadian rhythms, baby.
Yeah, I need that.
After I wake up from 10 hours of sleep and drinking 3 gallons of water, I wake up with the sun, meditate for an hour and a half, and then go to the gym. So it's pretty. I'm living a pretty good life too.
Are you a 10-hour sleep guy?
No, but I'm 8 plus. And I ain't talking about Apple. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm
Oh, Jesus Christ.
No, I am though. I'm like a 9:30, 10 o'clock till like 5:30, 6 o'clock.
I mean, that sounds about normal, I guess.
Yeah, I just don't. There's nothing for me at night. Like I just have no reason to stay up. Like I'm not going to stay up late to work because my work is during the day with people. I'm not going to stay up to like watch TV because nothing is that compelling to me. So it's like it feels that I mean, this has been for at least 5+ years. This has kind of been the rhythm I'm on.
The sooner you fall asleep, the sooner you die is sort of Chris's philosophy,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's. I just love to be well rested. It's a key to me looking so youthful. I think is that, and we had a trainer on this week, Kirsty Godso, and she was saying that sleep is something we neglect, and it could affect our bodies negatively. Not just being sluggish, could put on some pounds. Do you need a trainer, Matt?
My exercise life started when my friend Sam asked me to come to a Soul Cycle class where we grew up when we were both home visiting, and I looked at him like he was insane. And then I went and I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. And then like a little while later, I like had gone through a breakup and I was like feeling down, and I started going a lot, like 6 days a week. And then I was like obsessed with that.
I've also gone through that phase. I can fully relate.
It was great. And then there was a period of like running around Silver Lake Reservoir with the dogs, like 4 nights a week. I was doing that. And then we built a little like gym in the house. So I was doing like, you know, like a routine with like weights and a Peloton and like that kind of thing. So I just jump around. It's kind of, right now I've been pretty off though.
It's okay. You'll find your way back. We all do.
I did a Peloton class the other day and I felt pretty good about it, but
it sounds like everything else is so dialed for you. I think that just some physical activity will put you over the top.
I mean, I'm just trying to be a superhuman. You know what I mean? Make enough time to listen to like 10 Dean Martin records at the end of the day to calm down, and
then you're good to go. Damn.
What do you put on when you're cooking? When you're cooking in the old La Cocina?
In COVID, I got really into, depending on the like where in the world the meal was from, I would like play music accordingly, which definitely led to like learning about some new music when we'd have like Chinese food, because I don't know a lot of Chinese music. So I was really digging to try to, right before COVID, I went through like a hardcore had to master bolognese phase. So I would do like a bolognese once a week and I would go really hard on Dean Martin and the rest of the crooners. Like sometimes if I want to really juice it up, I'll throw on like Glass House by Billy Joel. Like gets me really pumped in the kitchen for some reason. I don't know why. I love Billy Joel in the kitchen. I don't know. That's
okay.
He keeps it going. But you know, we went to this restaurant, Damien, the other night for the first time. And it was one of the better music listening experiences at a restaurant I've had in a long time. And I know people are going to disagree, and this is probably controversial to say this, but I hate listening to super loud contemporary. Like,
don't attack John and Vinny's. We do it enough. Okay, so
no, but it's not Johnny. It's not just Johnny's Vinny's. It's everywhere now. It's, you know what I mean? To me, and this will probably be controversial, I think that Little Frankie's started that.
Yes, they did.
The way they did it was it came on, you know, like towards the end of the night. So it was like a slow progression to you're getting ready to go to the club. So we're on the right. But like when I go in like at 7 and I can't hear anyone I'm eating because the new Young Thug is like blasting so loud, it just takes away from a dining experience personally.
No, it does.
Welcome to being old.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I know I'm old. You know, but I've literally joked about saying there should be a law that like you can only listen to music at a certain volume in a restaurant.
I agree.
And one of the best dining experiences I ever had was in Japan. There was this restaurant, because my other friend who's like very hardcore about this, we were there together, and this restaurant was just playing like ambient noise, and it was one of the most beautiful.
That's Jason's dream.
Loved it. So nice. Dining to me, that's my version of partying now, like going out to dinner with a couple of people. So I want to talk to them. That's when I want to like.
I want to
have
engage.
A conversation.
I want to engage. I get it.
Yeah.
I want to engage while I have my anti-cocktail virgin Negroni.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Nothing says cool like a virgin Negroni and some conversation.
Bring me the non-alcoholic cocktails. All of it. You know, I love all the like.
We'll get a case of Gia out over to the house real soon.
Is Gia non-alcoholic?
Yeah. Shout out to our family at Gia. Melanie, we love you.
But it still has a very bold flavor.
It is a bold flavor.
I've been seeing it around.
Yeah, I bet you have. In the circles you run in, it's everywhere. Can't find a home bar without it.
You have enough Instagram followers for us to get you a case. No problema.
Dude, I would love some. I love some non-alcoholic beverages.
Let's go, baby.
Give me soda and bitters is my standard go-to. But
yeah, that's sober 101 right there.
Let us upgrade you with the Gia Spritz, Matt. It's been wonderful. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Tell people where they can find you on Instagram. I know your new book. You put out a new soft cover version of the book, right?
Yes, we just released it's like a laminate, so it's somewhere between a soft cover and hardcover version of Into the Distance. They're very like small runs. There's only 600 in existence, so you know I like everything. I try to keep it pretty kind of rare, not to overuse that word. And yeah, Matt or McCormick on Instagram is where I kind of like actively update stuff that I'm doing. And yeah, there's some new One of These Days about to release. Some exciting stuff for that.
Great.
And also go out and get some Chilagos hard seltzer, because you know that's my other venture these days. So yeah,
this guy's got a diverse portfolio, Jason. Something we could learn.
Shouts to Stevie. I'm actually supposed to meet with him next week. What do you know? We'll grab him some din din.
Beautiful.
Maybe you'll join us, Matt. We'll see.
Yeah, let me know. I'll be there. He'll be repping we'll all be repping the Chilago hard seltzer.
Good to see you, Matt. We'll talk to you soon. Later.
Thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.